by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children, and we strive to reflect that in our budget this year. Unfortunately, given the state of things, we do expect that overall revenue will be much lower this year. To reflect the lower revenue streams, we wanted to keep programming and support consistent. So we shifted some expenditures in order to reach more children overall. Generally speaking, we lessened amounts such as scholarships for graduating seniors and increased amounts for membership support, which would be money that we give to local PTAs to help them out a bit. Additionally, this year, we, Kara, on behalf of the FCC PTA, accepted an NAACP grant to provide COVID relief assistance to underserved and unrepresented communities, and you will see that reflected there. I believe also that this was sent out to the membership earlier this afternoon for review, the actual budget. So unless there are questions, Kara, I would like to move to recommend the adoption of this budget.
What questions do you guys have about the budget? I want to go ahead and leave the budget up for a few minutes to give everybody a chance to look at it.
To make it official, though, this is Bob Gaylord again. I'll second Jamie's motion.
Thank you.
I see a question in the chat about how will the grant be distributed. So I'm assuming you're talking about the NAACP grant for COVID relief, and I will go ahead. I am just the writer of the checks per se, but there is a system in place to make sure that the grants are given to deserving folks, and I will let either Michelle or Kara perhaps talk a little bit more about that.
Yep, we have a team of folks, I think it's 3 of us who are going to get together, put together a very simple application. The grants, because I was the grant writer from NAACP, it is a COVID relief grant. It is for underrepresented families and students, so there will be some stipulations on where we can distribute the funds, but the goal is to distribute them to 6 students in the amount of $500 for the purpose of distance learning technology. And there'll probably be some other stipulations or requirements, but it will be a very brief application, and we hope to have the application out by the 15th of this month, and hope to have the mini grant winners announced by mid-November and have the funds distributed. They have to be distributed this calendar year. That is another stipulation of the grant. Hope that answers the question.
Michelle, there's a request to see the top. Can you scroll back up?
Sure. Good?
Yeah, that seems good.
So while you guys are reviewing the budget, you might notice that there's a little bit of money left over this year. And that's because we are trying to think about next year. Are we going to be in the same position where membership is possibly less because we're still in a hybrid or a virtual environment? We know that that big back to school event where everybody comes in and meets the teacher, that we know that that's where we get our biggest kick in membership. So next year is still uncertain. We don't know what it's going to look like. So we're trying to be fiscally responsible with our money so that next year we can continue the programs as is if no new money comes in, but that we still leave the board that will come in after us. We're still leaving them a chunk of change to move to be able to run their programs as well.
Quick question, sorry, in the chat for, did you say 6 students or 6 school PTAs, Michelle, the grant?
No, the grants, they are mini grants. They will go directly to students.
Six individual students, yeah. Okay,
6 individual students.
Okay. Another question is unrelated to that. Since we are in a pandemic, has the National PTA reduced PTA membership dues this year? Not that I'm aware of, no, they have not.
No, and the truth is PTA is a membership driven organization, and the dues that we pay to national and to state and the 25 cents you guys send our way, it goes to support your training and the tools and the resources that we have available to us. That's the difference between a PTA and any other parent teacher organization. There's no bigger network, there's no level of support. So we're looking at what, like $4 total for Fairfax County. You have the option at your local unit to lower your dues. You don't have, if your PTA has been charging $30, you could change that to $5. You know, so your $4 is being sent off, and maybe you're keeping $1 so that you can help just kind of fund some of your expenses.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions about the budget?
Chat box is clear.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and launch the next poll. All right, so the question is, do you approve of the FCC PTA budget for the 2021 school year? And it is launched. All right, guys, in 30 seconds, we managed to get 45 out of 64 people voting, 100% yes. We are good to go. Thank you so much. And share, I'll share it so you guys can see that I'm not lying. Okay. Jamie, did you have anything else in your report?
I did. I just wanted to update on everyone on the financials after 7/31, between 7/31 and 9/30. Our beginning balance was $23,970.74. We had a couple of dues that came through from the last fiscal year. We also had to have a few payments that were made. There were a couple of checks cashed. And so our ending balance as of 9/30/2020 is $22,441.82. And that is all I have. Thank you so much.
Any questions for Jamie? All right, if you end up having a question, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll make sure it gets answered for you. We are going to move along. We need to approve our meeting minutes from May 2020. So I hope you remember everything that happened that night. So the meeting minutes were sent out earlier today. And I think, Michelle, do we have the ability to show them on screen? And Brett, would you like to speak to the minutes?
Sure. So the minutes have been posted. The minutes from May 2020 have been posted for your review. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but as Kara said, they were also sent. Please take a moment and let me know if you see any corrections. Are there any corrections?
We'll let you look at the second page.
Okay, any corrections?
Chat
There are no
box is clear.
corrections. The minutes stand approved as posted.
Thanks, Brett.
Point of order.
Yes.
Actually, you should be the one who announces that, not Brett.
I will get recognized and I will do it. The minutes were posted and distributed for your review. There have been no questions or no corrections, so the minutes stand as approved. Thank you. Thanks, Jason, for keeping us on our parliamentary toes. Okay, so now that we have done our minutes, we've done all the official PTA stuff. So I am going to turn the floor over. Oh, well, first I need to tell you a little story. So virtual learning in my household has taught me that my fourth grader does not know how to spell. And Google Docs is not helping that because he's learned if he just types in a few letters, he can figure out the word. So virtual learning is not helping my child learn how to spell. So if your child or the children at your school are also struggling with spelling, I suggest you listen to our spelling bee chair, Eliza. Eliza, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will try to, hopefully, can everyone hear me, please? I'm not exactly familiar with Zoom all the time. I'm just going to give a quick blurb about the Fairfax County Spelling Bee program. I know with all the things that have changed this year, that a number of people have thought, okay, Spelling Bee no longer exists, or at least is on hiatus. That is not true. The Spelling Bee is turning into a different sort of creature. It's the same Spelling Bee if you wish to have it in person, but Scripps, with whom we work and from whom we receive our materials, is now creating a virtual platform. So for all of our schools that are teaching in person, when your school, if you choose to enroll in the Spelling Bee program, Scripps will be providing you with all those tools to hold your bees virtually. And that includes the Fairfax County Spelling Bee, which is for our school Spelling Bee Champions that is being held in March. That will likely have to be virtual as well. So I will be not only supporting our bee coordinators as they create their virtual bees, I will be learning along with them in preparation to create and to present the Fairfax County Spelling Bee virtually. Now, the great question is, if you are interested in the Spelling Bee and bringing it to your school, how do you do it? It's easy to enroll. You sign up with Scripps on spellingbee.com, as you see from that lovely flyer that Michelle has put up on screen. That's downloadable. Your school will enroll, and Scripps immediately then provides for you all of the materials that you need for download. And so then you can distribute those materials, word study lists, etc., virtually to the spellers who are interested at your school. Full disclosure, there is a fee for this material that you pay to Scripps. But the wonderful thing is that once you have those materials, and Scripps provides all wonderful guidance, and then you have me as your local guide. I have been a school bee coordinator for quite a few years at Flint Hill Elementary School and also at Thoreau Middle School. And so I can provide all of you all of the help that you need if you're exploring the program, or if you are trying to figure out how exactly to customize it for your school. I am here for you for the entire ride. Please contact me via that wonderful email address down in blue at the bottom of the screen, spellingbeechair@fccpta.org. And I will answer your questions if you'd like to explore, or if you have more specific questions. If you have questions about enrollment, I am there. Right now, obviously, our enrollment is down from previous years because so many schools are still trying to figure out exactly what they would like to do for their education and also their enrichment programs like ours. Enrollment is open until December, so schools have plenty of time, and the most wonderful thing is that the enrollment fee is staying steady through the enrollment period at $175. And so that is usually, the price does go up, and Scripps is making sure that price stays stable this year. So explore away, come join the Spelling Bee. There are already 20 schools who have signed up, and we're looking forward to having an awful lot more. And, you know, welcome and thank you.
Thanks, Eliza. If you have any questions for Eliza, please go ahead and put them in the chat or send her an email. So did you know that October is National Arts and Humanities Month? Again, only speaking for my fourth grader, but a lot of time on the computer in our household is not equal to an increase in practicing the arts. So if you're interested in learning how the PTA can support the arts and get those kids off their computers, please listen to Jason Morgan, our Reflections Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we have a couple slides for this. We can go to the next slide to see. Yes, thank you so much. So the most important thing that local unit PTAs, PTSAs need to be aware of is that there is a October 31st, 2020 midnight deadline for getting winning entries from the local units up to Fairfax County Council PTAs. I have not provided instructions yet on how to do so, but I will provide forms and instructions mid-October to local unit PTA, PTSA reflections leaders. I've gotten a large number of people who I've been contacting. I think I've covered up pretty much all the schools who are eligible. If it's not happening at your school, find out who your local reflections chair should be, make sure that it's getting out there. I have seen a number of schools that are who are participating in reflections this year who have not participated before. I think part of that is even though this is the first time we've gone all virtual with receiving submissions, we were able to provide a tool for requesting optional electronic forms and repositories. And it's actually now 41 local unit PTAs, PTSAs took advantage of that offering. So there are a lot out there. It's not perfect. There are some, it's not the best that I would have liked to seen, but it is workable, and that's what's important. Right now, the big focus is on getting volunteer judges. We need judges, especially in the areas of dance, film. We've got a lot of people who are willing to judge, but they don't really want to judge, and music, where we have very few who really want to judge in that category as well. So the report I sent out should have a link to the judge registration form. I would highly encourage you to reach out if you've got students who are in schools at places that offer dance or maybe some kind of film type thing or music. Reach out to them and say, have you asked your teachers or other people to volunteer in this capacity? Give them the link and encourage them. I may have already reached out to them, but if you're a customer, if you have children there, they're more likely to listen to you than they are to me. So please reach out and help me find the people who can volunteer so that it can be an easy task. I want to make sure that every entry, when it comes up to the FCC PTA, has at least 2 or 3 judges, if not more, getting a chance to look at it and help grade by the rubric. Speaking of which, can you go to the next slide? This is just the overview of how these entries are graded or judged or whatever. And 40% of it will be based on interpretation of the theme, I matter because. Another 30% based on creativity and 30% based on technique. Individual reflections programs are free to judge the way they feel works best, but it's likely it's a good idea to try and match how they're going to be judged at the county, region, state, and of course national level to try and get the works up that are most likely to end up standing out and getting rewards at higher levels of competition. But really, what's important here isn't winning, it really is opening these opportunities to students so that they have a chance to express themselves and do more than they think they're capable of in these arts. So are there any questions regarding reflections? I'm not hearing any questions, Madam President.
Jason, it looks like somebody would like to get the link in the chat.
Oh, that's what that was asking for. Yes. I thought it was just asking if, I don't know what, I thought maybe she was just asking if we were going to get a copy of the chat, but no, I can provide that, no problem.
Thanks, Jason.
Yes, of course. You can go ahead and go on. I'll get that while you move on with the meeting.
All right, thank you. Okay, so reflections is done. Thank you, Jason, for that update. Okay, so I know that I keep on talking about virtual learning, but it's kind of a big deal in my household. You know, I've said it a million times today, virtual learning is just really, really hard. But I'm fortunate, my son has friends. He was in school in Fairfax County last year and he knows people, and that's taking the sting out of it a little bit. But we have so many kids in our community who they moved here over the summer they've never had a chance to meet anybody. They don't know their classmates. So they're suffering virtual learning without even having personal connections. So I'd like to introduce you to Julie Shepard, our Military Families Chair, and she's going to share some ways that they are hard at work to help these military families make connections and adjust to FCPS life.
Thank you so much, Kara, for that kind introduction. I am a military spouse myself, and I actually grew up here in Fairfax County, but we moved around a lot. And moving my child in high school and coming back to the area is really what got me on this path with advocacy for our military families. So I reached out to two different local, well, they're national organizations. One is Blue Star Families, and they have a DC chapter here. And the other one is Military Child Education Coalition, and they have a DC Northern National Capital Region outreach program. So we're going to be putting together a partnership with the three of us working on this. And my child is bringing me my dinner right in the middle of my presentation. Sorry. Thank you so much. She cooked dinner tonight. Military kids are resilient, right? And I'm losing my train of thought. This is a new committee for the council, and so I've been slowly recruiting different people to serve in their school communities. So that's the number one thing. I have my little thing typed up to hit send in the chat. It'll include my email and the information. The first step is next Tuesday, the 13th at 7 p.m. We're having a town hall, with Blue Star Families and Military Child Education Coalition. And I would love for you guys to, if you have someone in your school that is serving in this role, to reach out to me so they can be included in that town hall. And then the next step is, like Kara said, these military families and students haven't had this chance to network and meet people in person if they moved here during the COVID time. So we are planning an in-person event on November 1st from 1 to 3 in the afternoon at the Lee District Amphitheater. And that will be open to all military families in the Nova District. So this will be beyond the Fairfax County Council PTA. We're going to elevate that to the whole Nova District region. So if you have any questions about it, please type it in the chat here. I just hit enter. So there's my email address. And I do have a closed Facebook group for the different PTA leaders who I know are doing this work in their schools or want to get engaged with their PTA. If you're a PTA president or on your board and you don't have someone, but you'd like to hop onto that town hall to learn more, I'd encourage you to send me an email and I would love to include you. So that concludes my presentation. If there's anyone that has any questions, and I can answer them, but otherwise we'll keep the meeting moving along.
Thanks, Julie. So I think one of the things that this global pandemic has taught us is the value of community and connections. We know that we are stronger together. And this is true in the PTA world as well. When PTAs have the opportunity to build relationships with other PTAs in the area, great things truly can happen. So please help me in welcoming Ms. Brett Fox, our FCC PTA Secretary, but also one of a team of two that is hard at work at our PTA Ambassadors Program.
Thank you, Kara. So Karen Lee is my counterpart, and we have been pretty successful in relaunching this program that started last year. So what it is, it's going to be a way for PTA leaders, whether they're current or former PTA leaders, to represent their pyramid. So we are still looking for a few. The ones that we're looking for are the Oakton Pyramid, McLean, Marshall, TJ, Lewis, Centerville, South County, and Robinson. So if you know anybody who is a PTA current or former leader who is just interested in getting involved, we put some cool initiatives into the volunteer opportunity this year. We had a call with Dr. Brabrand last week for just the ambassadors, and we have some other cool leadership ideas that we have coming up. It's a very small commitment, maybe 2 hours per month, but it's a way to be the liaison between the FCC PTA and the local units. So Oh, yes, I see in the chat. Robin, so even if the high school is a PTO, some of the schools in the pyramid are still a PTA. And we're also including all of the PTOs in our email exchanges just to keep them involved, since this is, we may as well be as inclusive as possible. So, so if you're interested or know anybody, please reach out. You can contact myself at secretary@fccpta.org, and I'll put that in the chat. We have a call coming up that's going to be a food pantry meeting. When we were on the call with Dr. Brabrand, one of the things that was discussed at length was the need for food pantries right now. And so there was a lot of interest in starting food pantries at schools that don't already have them. In fact, Dr. Brabrand's closing words to us were, get those pantries going. So with that task in mind, we have set up on October 27th at 7 p.m. a Zoom call with some of the leaders of very successful food pantries, including the South Lakes PTA Food Pantry, which is a very successful pantry here in the Reston area. And we are also going to have Michelle Cates, who's representing SEPTA and kids with dietary needs and dietary restrictions. And so we're going to be promoting how to set this up in your local school, and a panel of other speakers will be available to answer questions that you may have too. So that's not just for ambassadors, that's just for anybody who's interested, and we're hoping to have one representative from each school within each pyramid on the call. And that's all I have for you. If you're interested, please let Karen or I know, and we'd be super excited to have you.
This is a really great program, and it's really an opportunity for schools within pyramids to get to know each other, to work with each other, to share resources. You know, hiring, you have to pay for a program or for a speaker. Why not have like a pyramid PTA meeting? So all the PTAs chip in, and they all get the benefit. So it's a really great way to kind of increase those community connections. And I'm so glad that Brett and Karen are taking this work and they are just flying with it. Okay, so now it's time for us to hear from the T in PTA. So when teachers and families work together, children win. SCC PTA is fortunate to have the teacher voice on our board, and we are so happy to have them here with us tonight. So please welcome, I have two speakers, Ms. Kimberly Adams, President of FEA, or Fairfax Education Association, and we have Tina Williams, President of FCFT, or Fairfax County Federation of Teachers. So Kimberly and Tina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kara. And I think Tina and I were kind of bounce off each other, so I'm not sure if the spotlight will work, but we'll do our best. We really want to start by thanking all of you and your students for putting in so much effort to make this school year start off just right. And our educators have been working nonstop. Tina and I can both tell you that it's constant and continuous. People feeling somewhat overwhelmed from the amount of work that virtual learning has taken out of them, and away from their own families as well. Many of our members are both educators and parents in FCPS, so it's a challenge every day. Tina?
Yes. My members have been talking about how excited they are to be back with their students. They have so looked forward to it and prepared, and engagement has been high in week number 5. Students are adjusting well to virtual instruction. Our educators and support staff are making connections and really working hard to make sure that virtual learning feels as seamless as possible, and working to make sure that the day is productive, that those breaks are in place, and that it's a very interactive experience. Educators are working to have those connections with parents as well, making sure that parent-teacher support and teamwork is there as well. And just excited to be back with our students.
And we know technology has been a little better than it was this spring, thankfully. Most of our students have been able to connect well, and we're still helping some families to get connected in the best way possible for them through Cox and other means of cable connection with the internet that they need. But I know both of my children have had laptops lent to them by the system, and they seem to be working well for them, so thankfully for that. And we also know that teachers are excited to just teach their students so many new modalities and things to use, and programs that FCPS may have just had as extras on the side and now are being utilized every day by our students online. So it's really exciting to see them using the MyOn books and the Pebble Go, and all of our library access tools, including so many new programs that FCPS has purchased for our students.
Yes, yes, and those partnerships and collaborations of all of our FCPS educators, those professional educators coming together to support our students and supporting instruction. We want to make sure that the screen time is not too much for our students too. So that has been a concern, and we've heard a little bit about shortening the day, because the instructional time, we've heard is challenging for our students. So we want to make sure that it is something that is manageable for our students. That also could allow for more planning time so that our teachers are able to support our families as well as our students.
And then one other piece that we know that's been critical for families is the special education focus. As the parent of an IEP student myself, I know going through the addendum process back in the spring was such a challenge. The addendums this fall were even challenging, and now many of the IEPs are up for a renewal, and so all of those paperwork and meetings are happening, and our special education teachers, who not only teach most of the day with students, are then tasked with a significant amount of paperwork and meeting with you all. And we just appreciate so much grace that's been given to our special education teachers and support staff who do that work for some of our most vulnerable learners, and the different scenarios that they find themselves in with online learning and being supported has been a challenge. And we know, Dr. Brabrand and the system are committed to bringing those students back first, and our organizations will support it as much as we can to make sure it's very safe and a very transparent return to these buildings.
I have a question, sort of. So I've heard from a couple of I guess non-classroom teachers, so art teachers, physical education teachers, and the sense I would say is lost. I don't know how to describe it another way. There's they're a little bit more lost in the other elements of teaching. All right, is how are we keeping them engaged, keeping them relevant in our children's life and education?
Yeah, and we know that's been a challenge, and even some family members have asked to not attend necessarily music, PE, and art if their child has hit a significant point in the day where they just can't handle it any further. We know that those teachers are putting together high quality lessons, and they should be available later asynchronously. And there's a lot of materials that are just there to expand some of the students' desires to have more. Maybe your child really does excel in music, and some of these music educators have put together programs that are available through their Blackboard sites and through their Google Classrooms that students can go and explore on their own. So luckily those are, even though they're seen as electives and additional to reading, writing, and social studies science, they really are critical for some of our students who that's the only way that they connect to the day. So we do know that it's a super hard challenge to keep our kids engaged all day long in all these different courses.
Yes, and those courses are great ways to break up the day so that our students are able to focus and attend and to find some of that enjoyment in the day. Some of those activities, children really thrive and excel and love those. So making sure that that opportunity is there. And our schools do not, across the county, do not have a consistency in what is being offered and how it's being offered too. So some schools are getting more of that than others.
One thing that we've been teaching our teachers and also our students is this 20-20-20 rule. Ophthalmologists recommend that every 20 minutes, you or your students take a 20-second or longer break and focus on something that's at least 20 feet away. It gives your brain and your eyes that break they need from this distance that we're seeing ourselves in more and more. You actually take a physical moment to focus on something, and that might have to be outside of a window depending on what our students are sitting in as far as rooms, but to find something at least 20 feet away to focus on and get your brain and your eyes to take that moment.
Right, right. And just these kind of tips are going to help our students. It's going to help our parents be able to support learning that's going on. Another tip is to acknowledge when your student is doing well and encouraging them. It is so important as they're learning these new skills in a new environment, creating those positive affirmations, encouraging our students to continue what they're doing. It creates that supportive learning environment. It motivates our students, which can lead to more success in other areas as well as their academics. And it fosters that connection and relationship with the parent. Allowing for those frequent breaks is so important. The long periods of viewing the screen or just sitting can be very difficult, particularly for our young children. So having those periodic movement, stretch breaks, or just a break in general, and letting them know that they have permission to do that when they need it, to be able to get up as they need it and when it's appropriate. It's also important for our parents to take care of themselves too, because this can be challenging as well. So having that grace and being gentle with yourself, not comparing yourself with other families, which can be challenging with social media, but trying to be flexible with yourself and with your young children during this experience as well, and having activities for yourself, time for yourself as well, and as well as making sure your children have that personal time as well, so that everybody's developing those positive and healthy coping skills.
And I do see Amanda's question in the chat, but also I wanted to just point out, check on your neighbors too. You all are teaching your children just as much as we are, and it's hard for you and it's hard for your neighbors. And just check in and make sure that they're okay too. We're calling up our colleagues to check on them and see how they're doing. And we want parents to check on each other too and make sure that you're feeling good about what's going on at home. And it's such a hard time right now. And I'm sure Tina can talk about it, but we can't see everything that's going on, and we don't always know what's being presented in front of us on this screen and what's really happening around what's happening in that room. So we're watching closely. But Amanda, yes, we don't have a lot of information yet about these cohorts. It's still being developed at each school, how each cohort will be meeting with their teachers and then accessing the general education curriculum. So we do know that some of the students that are returning are our Cat B, and they spend a lot more of their time outside of the general ed classroom. And even some of those students are full-time with a special education teacher. So that is an easier thing to work through than the students who are going to need to have some time with their special education teacher and then sometime back with their cohorted group that's virtual still. We're seeing the same thing for our academy classes up at the high school level, because they're going to be in person now in some cases to go and do hands-on things like the firefighting course, but they still have the other courses that they need to take. And how do they get back home quickly enough to be on time for those classes? Or are they remaining in the school building in a location where they can be monitored but still accessing the rest of their curriculum? So those are all still things that are being worked out by the system as we come back to school.
Yes, yes. And in this situation in particular, it truly takes the village to support our children and support each other. And our professional educators are also parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts and uncles in the community, and our concerns are also the concerns that you have shared. And as educators and as part of this community, we love and care about the entire well-being of our students and families. We want to work together. We want to partner to ensure that students' learning experience is successful, positive, and that they continue to have that love of learning.
And Kara, don't worry, spelling's not dead. True writing takes a lot of work on the part of the writer, even if someone gives you all the spelling.
Oh, it's just all these insights that I'm getting with virtual learning. Yeah, so thank you both for coming here tonight. And if you are having a positive experience in virtual learning, and please let your teacher know, let your student's teacher know. Don't ask them to do anything, just send them a quick thank you. And if you can share a quick little anecdote about something cute or clever that happened in school, I think it would be really, really meaningful to our teachers. They are working so hard. I spent a week in 4th grade with my kid, and I was just blown away. You could tell how much work went into it. So thank you, Kimberly and Tina, for everything that you do. We appreciate you coming here tonight. I'm going to move on in our meeting. So the great thing about joining a PTA is that we have so many levels of support. You have us here at FCC PTA, you have National PTA, you have Virginia PTA, but we are so fortunate to also really have a very strong NOVA District PTA. So we're going to hear from 2 people. The first person I wanted to introduce you to tonight is our director of NOVA District PTA, Hamid Manur. He's going to come in and say hello real quick.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to let you know, I'm your new NOVA District Director this year, and I'll be serving for next 2 years. It's a big task. We serve Fairfax County, Arlington County, as well as Fairfax City and Alexandria City at schools. And we have lots of wonderful things that we're working on. And I will have my assistant director, Debbie, who will just join, and she will present the report to you all. But before I go, just like Kara mentioned, there are different levels of supports that are available to all of us. And for district level, our support is our state. And I know that Donna Colombo is on, who is our Virginia State President. I just wanted to shout out to her for a wonderful support that she has provided throughout as well. With that, I just want to pass on to our District Assistant Director, Ms. Debbie, who can give us a report for all the activities that we've been doing at the district level.
Okay. Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Hamid. I appreciate that. There's been a lot of going on at the district, even though, you know, we kind of started out slow. We're very excited to let everyone know that our district has partnered with Microsoft to offer our local PTAs and councils a free lifetime license for Microsoft 365 and meeting teams. And that is just a way for our local PTAs to be able to host virtual meetings and have all the benefits of Microsoft 365. So I'll put it in the chat box, but if you're interested, you can email me at assistantdirector@novadistrictpta.org. And also recently, well, just kind of finished this week, NOVA District was a co-sponsor of the virtual candidate forums that the Fairfax League of Women Voters held. I think they had held 3. And we've been a co-sponsor along with the council for many years. And it was, of course, a different format this year. So Beth Tudon did a great job in helping to organize that and to reach out to our district to help us co-sponsor that. Coming up, we have a couple of big events coming up. On October 24th, we have a virtual learning seminars that we are offering. We traditionally offer fall leadership training, and because Virginia PTA offered extensive training this summer, we wanted to kind of try to maybe offer something a little bit different for the fall this time, and of course it's virtual. So we will be offering sessions beginning at 9 a.m. and we'll finish up by 2 p.m. You only need to register once, and you can drop in, drop out, depending on which session you want to tune into. We will have a special, we have 5 sessions that are more learning sessions, and then we have one session that is an opportunity for everyone to learn what the council does for our local PTAs, what the district, what the state, and what the national level does in support of our local PTAs. And we have Donna, who will be, Donna Colombo as the VP, as the Virginia PTA president. We have Tony Shivers, who is on the National PTA Board of Directors, and Hamid and myself and all the council presidents. So that will be a very interactive, we want you to ask questions. So then, and I'll post, I will put that registration link. It's should be on our social media and our website page coming up. And the other big event that we have planned is on November 14th in the afternoon. Mike Waltz, who is our Diversity, Inclusion, and Outreach Committee Chair, is planning a anti-racism seminar. And the theme for the seminar is You Can Do More. So he's in the planning stages, has a committee on that, and as soon as everything is confirmed, we'll open up registration for that. So the other thing is, as Kara has been promoting all the great committee chairs and representatives that serve at the council level, Northern Virginia District also has positions that are currently open on our district board. And that includes communications, outreach, policy, and a big one, reflections. And so if anyone is out there and is interested in learning more about the district and working with other school divisions, as we do, we represent 5, please contact Hamid or myself, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what we do and what those positions, the details of those positions. So at this time, Kara, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak, but I'd like to invite Julie Shepard to come in. She is our district advocacy chair, and she is also, on the Virginia PTA Advocacy Committee. So she just had a couple things that she wanted to share, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'll be super brief. LaGuardia did an amazing job, your VP of advocacy at the council, giving our updates. So we have a Northern Virginia District Advocacy Committee that meets as well. So LaGuardia serves in that role. And so we have your voice is being lifted up into our state committee. I think that was an important thing to note as well. I just heard today from our state VP of advocacy that we had amazing resolutions that were passed last year at our state meeting, and she's going to be submitting 6 of them to National PTA. She talked with the National PTA resolutions person today. So that's something to know, that we're really making a difference here. Some of those things were advocacy things that came out of the council. So that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. See, those are your dues. Your dues are making these advocacy efforts work. And the more members that we have, the more powerful our voice is. We can go to Congress and say, hey, we represent 100 people, or we represent 100,000 people. Which one is going to make them listen? Membership is important. I'll get off my little high horse about that. So I noticed, and Hamid stole my thunder, because I noticed Donna Colombo was here, and I was going to do her after Nova District. So Donna, I know you're here, and I know I'm throwing you on the spot, but do you want to pop in and say hello really quick?
Hi, everybody. I was so my background is not PTA, and I have a t-shirt on instead of my regular clothes. I'm sorry. I was just going to kind of sneak in and say hi to everybody and just thank everybody for all of the work. I know that I've told people in the past, I know I've told people in the past that that sometimes, we get that break in the summer and we get re-energized, but we didn't really have that break, but we're going to keep energizing each other. We're going to keep moving forward. And I appreciate and so love all the work and dedication and commitment. And I thank each and every one of you for all of the hard work that you're doing. So thank you, Kara.
Thank you for coming tonight, Donna. And if you ever want Donna to come to your PTA meeting, send her an email. She and Pam Kroom love popping in on meetings.
We sure do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. So before, you guys were almost done. We've 2 hours and we've done it. You guys have been amazing. Before I open the floor just for the greater good to see if anybody has any final questions or thoughts to share, I did want to mention that SEPTA, our special education PTA, if you're unfamiliar with them, they help serve all families of special education students in Fairfax County. They are having their general membership meeting on October 20th at 7 p.m. They also are going to have an opportunity to introduce the new Assistant Superintendent of Special Services. And I believe there will be an opportunity for you to submit questions or concerns in advance of the meeting. Okay, so at this point, before we adjourn, I do want to go ahead and open the floor if you have any questions, comments, concerns.
Larry.
I do have, go ahead, Larry.
Sorry. Just in general, for those that either have outreach in their own PTAs or other PTAs, it's a word of caution to be mindful of security during your PTA meetings. I was on one yesterday, and that meeting was hacked quite rudely. It wasn't just sort of hacked. It was hacked in the worst possible way. So had to end it abruptly, and we're looking at security protocols. But there are people that literally just cruise Facebook and social media looking for postings about meetings and for codes, and they just hack it and say something rude and then leave. So whatever security protocols are necessary, I know we want to encourage an open participation and an open forum, but just something as simple as having a waiting room like we had for this meeting can mean that much of a difference in terms of policing the situation and maintaining control. The last thing I'll leave on that point is when you are running your meetings digitally, I would strongly encourage that you have someone that acts like a producer during your meetings. It is ineffective to try and run your meetings, monitor chat, deal with security, and deal with a waiting room while you're actually trying to run your meetings. So find a different officer or a different parent that is willing and willing to go ahead and be that person. To be fair, that person doesn't really know what's happening in the meeting because it's hard to pay attention to the content and police that, but it's essential in this time to be able to have somebody to do that. So.
All right, I just wanted to mention that as you might have noticed that some of us are wearing multiple hats in different positions. So it's because we want to help our PTAs and you know, different councils and stuff. But this is where all the parents should come up, you know, move forward and see if you have a capacity and you can come up to council level or district level and, you know, take on those positions. Yes, this is a little extra work, but your voices are getting heard, and you know, you're doing a great work for your community, for your school. So I would highly encourage that. With that statement, I will also say that I am also wearing 2 hats. So from the Fairfax County VP of Training perspective, I do want to say that if you guys have any training that you wanted to have at your PTA level or at the Fairfax County Council level, please do email me, let me know, because when I will be looking forward to put the seminar together, I will make sure that we address those topics via training sessions. So please do contact me if there is a specific areas that you want the training happen. So thank you.
I did want to draw everybody's attention to Jenna White had an announcement in the chat. She's our TICKN, our Trauma Informed Community Network rep. She is hosting an ACE, or I'm sorry, SCCPTA is hosting an ACE interface webinar on Monday, October 26th at 7. It's free and it's open to the community. She provided a link that has details and registration. If you have never attended an ACE presentation, it is life-changing. It changed my life and it changed my son's life. I learned things at Jenna's presentation that helped me advocate for my child and get him out of a bad situation into a much better situation. So truly life-changing. The great thing about Jenna's work too is that she loves coming to PTAs and sharing her message. So if you're looking for a speaker and a presentation and content to provide value to your members, please, please, please reach out to Jenna White. She is amazing and will help you.
Excellent. Anne Marie, would you mind sharing that out loud? I know you put in the chat box, but would you mind? There we go.
Sure, absolutely. Sorry. I was just trying to fix the link because my autocorrect screwed it up. The ACSD, which is the Advisory Committee for Students with Disabilities, for which I am the liaison for the FCCPTA, we have our October meeting next Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. And one of the benefits, one of the few benefits of the pandemic is that we are now live streaming our meetings. So anybody can attend without having to leave the comfort of your home. And I fixed the link. It's fcps.edu/streaming meeting. You can just watch on the website. If you have any concerns that you want me to bring up on behalf of the PTA, please feel free to email me, and I put my email address there as well. It's a really busy time for us, and as Kara mentioned, we have our new Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Boyd, who will be at our meeting also. Thank you.
All right, guys, last call. Anything for the greater good before we formally adjourn?
Hey, Kara, I did want to share, Virginia PTA did release an announcement of many Northern Virginia District PTAs who earn membership awards based on their membership at the end of this June from last year. So we're going to try to compile those and get those into a list that we can share. But congratulations to all of the local units that grew their membership last year. And we know this year it's a struggle, but we do hope that and encourage them to go ahead and submit their membership dues into state as soon as they can. And if they are not already enrolled with their member hub account, that we could certainly help them get that and help them streamline their dues and being able to have an online store. It's just really important. It's getting near the November 1st deadline for due submission. So I just wanted to pass that along.
Thanks, Debbie. Okay, guys. Yes, Shauna is putting out, our VP of Outreach is going to do 2 more roundtables this month. We're going to specifically target membership, but open for all conversation that is PTA related. Okay, you guys, it's been 2 hours and 11 minutes, and I wake up at 5:30 in the morning to take my dogs for either a walk or a run. So it is my bedtime. If there are no more questions or concerns or comments for the greater good, I am going to go ahead and officially adjourn the meeting at 8:42 p.m. Thank you and good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks. Bye.